Hey there, bookkeepers. If you're on the path to hitting six figures, or maybe you're just dreaming about it, I have some real talk for you today. Because let me tell you, hitting six figures wasn't exactly what I thought it would be. I had this vision of more money, more freedom, and this magical moment where everything just clicked. But instead, I found myself overworked, undercharging, and stretched so thin I could barely even enjoy the success I had worked so hard for. And I'm not alone in that. Over the years, I've worked with so many bookkeepers who finally hit six figures only to realize they were doing it the hard way. So today, I want to share the things I wish I knew before I hit six figures. The lessons that would have saved me time, energy, and stress. And I'll also be sharing stories from other bookkeepers who've made the leap and the biggest mistakes they overcame along the way. So if you're trying to grow and you don't want to hit those same roadblocks, grab a coffee, settle in, and let's get into it. Hey there, bookkeepers. Welcome to the Rescue My Bookkeeping Business podcast, your go-to resource for building a thriving and successful bookkeeping business. I'm Stephanie, your host and bookkeeper business bestie, here to guide you every step of the way. Each week, we'll dive into actionable tips, industry insights, real-world advice, and inspiring stories designed to help you work smarter, grow faster, and achieve the freedom and success you've been working toward. Plus, we'll have incredible guest interviews to help you take your bookkeeping business to the next level. Let's turn your big vision into your reality. It all starts here. So let's rewind a little. When I first started my bookkeeping business, I thought I had to say yes to every client that came my way. Big business, small business, messy books, last minute tax panic. If someone needed a bookkeeper, well, I was there. I thought more clients equaled more money, right? Well, not exactly. I found myself working crazy hours and barely seeing the income I wanted. I was on the verge of burnout when I finally had to ask myself, is this really the business I want? That's when I had to shift my mindset. I realized hitting six figures wasn't about doing more. It was about doing things better. And I'll get into exactly how I did that in a minute. Let's start with the biggest myth. More clients automatically means more money. Nope. What actually happens is more clients equals more work, unless you're pricing yourself right. I had a client, Sarah, who had 25 plus bookkeeping clients, and she was drowning. She was working more than 50 hours a week and still not taking home a great paycheck. We looked at her pricing and realized she was charging way too little. Once she raised her rates and let go of the clients who were draining her, she actually made more money while working less. It's not about how many clients you have. It's about having the right clients who pay you what you're worth. Now, six figures is an exciting milestone, but it doesn't mean your problems disappear. In fact, for a lot of bookkeepers, it's where new challenges start, like managing a team, dealing with tax planning, or setting better boundaries with clients. One of my clients, Melissa, hit six figures and immediately felt more stress than before because she had no systems in place. She was still manually tracking invoices and spending hours answering emails. We fixed that by automating her client onboarding and invoicing process. And boom, suddenly she had time to actually enjoy the business she had built. Now, the next one is hard. A lot of us start out doing everything: bookkeeping, marketing, client calls, admin work, even IT troubleshooting. But if you're trying to scale, you cannot do it all alone. For me, I resisted outsourcing for so long. I thought no one will do it as well as I do it. Sound familiar? But the second I hired a VA to handle scheduling and clearing my inbox, I freed up hours each week to focus on actual CEO level tasks, things that would make me money. The lesson here: hire before you think you're ready. Even starting with a few hours of support per week can be a game changer. All right, the next one. Raising my prices will scare clients away. Well, that's a big fear, but let me tell you, the right clients will stay. The wrong clients will leave, and that's okay. I had a client who was terrified to raise her clients. When she finally did, she lost 2 clients. But those clients were always late paying and super high maintenance. The ones who stayed happily paid more because they valued her work. If you're undercharging, the only thing you're doing is holding yourself back. Now, misconception number 5. I need a huge social media following. Well, some of the most successful bookkeepers I know, they barely post online. What works way better than chasing followers is building strong relationships, getting referrals, and positioning yourself as an expert. Focus on connections, not vanity metrics. All right, I want to get into some of the lessons that I learned, and I want to start with the biggest mistake I made when I was scaling. I priced myself low because I was scared of losing clients. I was totally undercharging. And here's what happened. I attracted clients who questioned every invoice. I worked way too many hours for not enough money. And I hit a revenue ceiling very fast because there was only so many hours in the day. Now, one of my coaching clients, Sarah, was stuck in the same cycle. She was making about $3,000 a month, but she was working full-time hours. We switched her to value-based pricing, and within 3 months, she doubled her revenue while cutting her client list in half. Let that sink in. She made more money and worked less hours. So I encourage you, take a look at your pricing. If you're charging by the hour, it's time to switch. Charge based on the value you bring, not just the time you spend. Next up is boundaries. I learned this one the hard way. When I first hit 6 figures, I was still saying yes to everything. Answering texts at night, taking last-minute projects without additional fees, letting clients push way beyond the agreed scope. And honestly, I was miserable. One of my own coaching clients, let's call her Michelle, had this exact issue. She was overwhelmed, working nights and weekends just to keep up. So when we started coaching, we made a few small shifts. First, we set clear office hours, and she stuck to them. We put rush fees in place for urgent requests, and we created contract language that defined her scope clearly. And guess what? Within 1 month, she had cut her working hours by 30% and made more money because she started charging for the extras. So if you don't have a contract that outlines your office hours and scope, it's time to put one in place. And if you already have one, but you're not enforcing it, now's a great time to start. Lesson 3 is all about systems and efficiency. Here's what no one tells you. You don't hit 6 figures by working harder. You hit it by working smarter. When I hit 6 figures, I was still running my business like a one-person show, manually invoicing, chasing clients for documents, answering every email myself. And let me tell you, that doesn't work at 6 figures. I was spending 10 plus hours a week on back and forth emails alone. That's a full work week every month. So I started with automating workflows, and suddenly I had hours back in my week. I used tools like Keeper, Dubsado, and ClickUp, and everything changed for me. So I encourage you, pick one task to automate this week. Maybe it's client onboarding or invoicing. Pick something and start now. Now let's talk about mindset, because honestly, the hardest shift isn't in what you do, it's in how you think. Here's what I've learned. You don't hit six figures by working more hours. You hit it by working differently. That means charging premium pricing, setting boundaries like a CEO, investing in systems that free up your time. Because hitting six figures isn't just about how much you make, it's about how you make it. And if you're constantly stressed and overwhelmed, that's not real success. Ask yourself, what's one thing you're doing right now that a six-figure CEO wouldn't do? And then stop doing it. All right, let's do a quick recap. Raise your prices. You are worth more than you think. Set boundaries. Clients will take as much as you allow. Build system. Your business should run without you doing everything. And here's my challenge to you. Pick one of these shifts and implement it this week, because the sooner you start thinking like a six-figure CEO, the sooner you'll become one. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's next. And if you're ready to build a six-figure business, check out our coaching programs. The link is in our show notes. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.